garden's coming along with so much rain. In this week's video there's going to be more progress on the barn and just dodging the rain, lots of little jobs in between, so hope you enjoy the video. We're working on the roof today. You can see we've got a huge overhang, but that's the first rafter going up. It's currently propped up because we need to extend the wall plate slightly higher. This isn't going to be a perfect roof. We're working with old techniques and certainly 5 or 6 iterations of shifting the roof and the size and the building and being extended. So the roof steps down at one point where the main beams, the central beam goes across, where it connects 2 different barns together, and the wall at the far side of the barn is actually higher than the wall here, which is why we're having to build it up. So we're creating a higher wall plate. We're going to put birds' mouths in the rafters and sit them onto those wall plates, and we're going to work our way along until we get to the right height for the roof. So we're trying to avoid a wiggly wobbly roof, and we're going with the old methods, and I think that this will come out right with the right amount of packing. When we looked at the inside of the barn, we can see where it's been packed. We can see that it's handmade, it's DIY, and we're just following the old styles really. And while we're doing that, the house martins are coming back and forth from their nest and cheering us along. They've got chicks coming soon, so they're very busy at the moment. So that's a quick update on the roof. We'll show you more detail as soon as we get up on the scaffolding. Simon's been working on the second section for the wall plate, so I'm going to point that next bit.
Right, so I've got 7 rafters up on the roof already. We're going to put another one up now, and as I do it I'll just kind of talk through how we're doing it, what we're doing it, and what we're trying to achieve with the roof. And yeah, it's a bit cooler today, which is okay because it means it's nicer to work in some ways between showers. You just have to dodge the rain a bit. But yeah, I'll crack on with getting this next one up. Okay, so the first stage you just saw, I just pull the rafter up, put it into position, and because I've got the one on the other side, I just kind of butt it up against that one, and then make a mark against the wall plate with just a 20mm spacer, and then I put a line along that, and that gives me where we're going to cut the bird's mouth out, and I use a template which I'll show you. So it was just made with a bit of scrap wood, and you'll see in a minute. I'll just screw that onto it. It's got a couple of magnets in there that just help stick the kind of saw face onto it, and then that screws onto the rafter, and then you saw down those 2 angles, and that gives me the right angle, because the line that I mark is a few degrees off, because as the rafter drops it just changes slightly. So took a bit of time to work it all out. The first one took most of a day, but now I've got this, I can knock them out pretty quickly, and you get a nice tight fit on the wall plate, so which is good. So I'll get that set up. So the magnets just help that stick in place there, holds it to the block. I don't know how well you can see, but that's the line I marked on it, and you see that just goes off a slightly different angle to just accommodate that drop. So once I've got that line going, I can then just mark down the size of it. This is a fraction too long. I mean, I probably should just take it down, but to be honest, now I've got it and I know it's right, I don't really want to mess with it. So just move it along back over the line I've just cut, and then it puts it in the right place. You finish up with that? off cut, no good to anyone. The birds now. So that I then put, you'll see I'll put it back up, that sits on the wall plate. The next purling up on this one is slightly too high, so I just have to take a mark it. So I can't quite reach it. So I just get this, I've just made a little thing that just holds a pen. Just gives me another 18 inches of length of reach, and then I can reach it.
I've just come up here to show you a better view of this bird mouth. So this is the joint that we want to put on the top of the wall plate where the rafter meets to make sure that it all sits together nicely. You can see the rafter going up to the ridge.
Right, so that's just got it marked off. That little, that purling's just a touch too high, so I mark the notch off, and all I do is I saw several lines through it and just whack a chisel through it, and that gives me just a small little rebate out that then it sits over the purling, and then it screws in and everything's good. So I'll get that done now. Alright, so that's got that notch cut out, and I thought I'll mention it just because people ask. That little tool is a little Dremel sort of mini circular saw thing, and it works quite well, but the blades are... This is what they call a wood cutting blade. And you can see it's got like a little diamond is embedded in there, and it says on there, you can see under me, hopefully you can see there, wood. And the first time I used it, I thought, what am I doing wrong here? Because the amount of smoke, and it kind of grinds rather than cuts, so it does the job, and it's all right outside, but if you want one for indoors, well, there's probably better alternatives, to be honest. Anyway, it does the job. Finish it off with a chisel. For this sort of work, it's fine. So that's now, that little notch there will allow that to go over that purling. I notice there's a bit of wood that one of the old lats I've taken off sat on the scaffold, so I'll just bob up there and take that down, and then I can get this in, screw it in at the bottom, back up the scaffold inside, screw it in at the top, and that's that one done, which is great. Yeah, I meant to mention there's that little kind of piece of wood there that's just sat there. That's just a spacer. I'm just put like between top and bottom every rafter as I put them up, and it means I've got exactly the same spacing, which is on this is 16-inch centres, which I think is fairly standard for rafters and for everything. Seems to be 16-inch centres is what seems to be what gets spec'd. So that's what we're going with on this. It was actually 18-inch, the old ones we've taken off, so they're a little bit closer, but should make the roof a bit stronger. Yeah, so that's all that does, and just means that all of them are consistent. You haven't got to mess about with the tape measure. So I'll go up and get that old lap moved out of the way, and then we can get the rafter on. Okay, so that's the 4th rafter up on this side, so the 8th one in total, which is good. There's only about 80 of them, so we'll get there. Next job now, once again, move the scaffold that's inside, so I'm done with that now in there. I can take that down, get that built up at the front outside, and then the rest of it we can do kind of off the roof, so I'll film some of that as I'm doing it.
I thought I'd practice laying a cobbly floor, because I do want to do some of this in the barn where I've got repairs to do, where the new floor's going down and we're going to be making some steps. And I've had a good look at that floor in the barn, and it just literally is earth and stones. So I thought I'd try and just copy that and see how it works. And it looks okay. I'm quite pleased with it. It wants washing down, but it's been really rainy, so the earth's quite clay and sticky, so it works, I think, for doing this job. And then I think we're going to put some herbs and grass in between and let that grow so that we can mow it. And I think this might work well as a patio, but I'm not sure. It's an experiment now. We keep saying we're not experts on any of this, so you know, it's all quite experimental. I have seen some pictures of it working, so we'll see what it looks like. So yeah, it's just a question of trying to get it level. So that it's easy to walk on, and we can put some chairs out here, maybe get some shade over the top for the summer months. Be a nice place to sit in the garden. That's the plan. So much rain, it's stopped progress on the cobbled patio, so we can get on with that another time. It's coming along. Too hot today for you, Coco. You need to stay in the shade. Bertie, are you sunbathing? It is also too hot for you, so you can go back in a minute. You're just showing off your new haircut, aren't you? Continuing the rustic theme.
So one of the jobs we were going to pay someone to do, there's not many jobs that we're going to pay someone to do, but one of the ones we were going to pay someone to do was to plaster the ceilings in the kitchen and the lounge, because well, plastering ceilings, any plastering is certainly not easy. But unfortunately, the guy we booked, I think about last November, he was supposed to turn up in February. It's now end of June. He's still not come, and we're sick of hearing one excuse after another, to be quite honest. So we thought, well, nothing ventured. And the walls in the kitchen, you know, the idea is it's a 19th century French rural farmhouse with kind of lime plastered, fairly rustic walls. So we thought, well, we'll just do the ceilings the same finish. In actual fact, if we got it plastered and he'd come up with a sort of glass-like flat finish, we might have thought it doesn't really fit in anyway. So I think Nick's done a really good job of just doing the ceiling now. Got just the same kind of finish and texture on it as we had on the walls, just with a sponge. Might need to do a little bit of filling down the edges, just where there's some deeper holes, and you know, we can easily do that. Give it a coat of paint and see what we think. And I think, yeah, great. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. So, done this first bay. I'm going to have a crack at doing the second bay, so that should be even worse. But I'm not absolutely useless at this sort of thing. But I'll have a go, because it's over your head. It's hard work. We need to kind of share it a bit, and then Nick can just kind of go over whatever I do and finish it off and make it look good. But yeah, it's you know, we want to get on with the kitchen. We can't wait any longer, so we're just having a crack at it ourselves. This bumblebee's come back again. The other day I saw it, he tried to go actually in the door inside the hive in the front, and the bees clustered all around it and drove it off, but it seems very determined. Well, I gave the bumblebee a quick squirt with a water spray, and that it chased me around a bit. Didn't seem to like that much, but I think it's gone away for the time being. So we'll try and have a quick look inside and see how they're getting on. Yes. Bees all in the top cover, and you can see there's a lot of bees in there now. So that's great because they've expanded. They've been in 4 weeks now from a nucleus of about 10,000, and I can see just looking at that the numbers have gone up, way up, and they're pretty much all workers, so the queen must be doing well. And they're starting to build out the wax on these top frames, and you can see this stuff here is this brown stuff is propolis, so they're starting to collect that. I noticed them trying to gum up the hive in various places with that, which is what they like to do. So that's all good. It's disinfectant propolis, so it's good for them to start getting some of that and lining the hive with it. So I've just put the roof back on the hive, and you can see the activity at the front, them going in and out. Just been out and collected a load of elderberry flowers, and I'm going to try and make some elderberry elderberry flower fizz. So it's pretty easy. I think you basically add these flowers, let them soak for a couple of days, then you add them to sugar and lemon, and then you leave them, and there's natural yeast in the flower, so it'll ferment and should create reasonably fizzy wine. Well, fizzy, slightly alcoholic drink. And yeah, it'll be ready in a few weeks, so we'll let you know how we get on with it. So elderberry flower champagne is just sugar. There's about a pound, just over a pound of sugar dissolved in some boiling water, and then so there's 4 cups boiling water, 12 cups of cold water, a quarter of a cup of lemon juice, and a couple of tablespoons of cider vinegar. Put the flowers in, just making sure there's no bugs in them, and then it's just left for 2 days to start fermenting. Then put in a bottle and left for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it should be good to drink. Dead easy.
Where is he?
We've had a lot of rain over the last few weeks, and we knew we had quite a bit more. It's frustrating doing nothing with it, so yesterday we've got some old bits of gutter. We haven't bothered doing this properly because this roof's being replaced hopefully fairly soon, and then it'll all get re-gutted, but we've got some old bits more or less free of holes, so I just rigged up a somewhat shaky bit of guttering going down here, and then just running, hopefully you can just about see, down a chain and into the water butt. And the water butt was empty yesterday, and now is about 2 inches from the top, so by the time this rain finishes it'll be full, which is great.